Hey, Grace.
Hey, Jeremiah.
Yeah, did you know that 1 year Darth Vader didn't file his taxes?
No way. That sounds illegal. Tell me more.
Yeah, he was accused of being a tax evader.
Oh, that was good. That was good. I like that one.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Comics with Grace-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And I'm Grace.
And we are back with Darth Vader comics featuring Dr. Aphra plot lines. And this is part 2, because when was it? Before Acolyte, Grace did part 1.
Yeah.
And she's going to finish the collab between these two characters in the Star Wars universe. And so super excited for that. So if you haven't listened to part 1 or watching on YouTube, go check that out, especially the YouTube version, because there's the PowerPoint presentation that's with it. So you get to see the comics and the dialogue and the cool artistry and all that stuff. So go check that out. And as well, this episode will be on YouTube as well with the PowerPoint. So go check that out as well. But before we jump into that, we have some Spotify comments. And so last week we did top 5 deaths. And so we asked people to give their top 5 deaths. And we kind of classified as, the most like important death or like an emotional death, or a funny death. Like could be anything, not like celebrating.
I'm curious what Grace's would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, can you guys tell me what yours were first, or do I have to just go unprompted?
I don't want to spoil things. So, but how about this? We'll go over these comments and we'll kind of give you like a
sneak peek,
and we'll have a couple voicemails, I think, too. People give their answer to that, but and like we knew last week we were forgetting deaths, and there's 2 deaths that one I can't believe we forgot to have on our list. We have to change our list.
Really?
And another one that like I totally forgot too. So like,
oh Lord.
So okay, all
right.
The
one was on my list, and you totally forgot about that one. And that's like a really big one too.
Yeah. So right. So here's some answers. So someone we haven't heard from in a long time, Addie.
Ooh.
Surprisingly, not surprisingly, says Hemlock's death was my favorite. Okay. That sinister monster is finally gone and done with, and my favorite girl, Omega, played a big part in that. So I still can't believe when Addie said, like, before the finale in the comments, like we asked like how many people are going to die or whatever, and she's like, just Hemlock, let that man burn or something like that.
Yeah, it was like super aggressive.
Whoa. Because like,
I was like, all right.
Because Addie's like the sweetest, nicest teenage girl ever. Like, and her, like, oh no. Dazdor says Qui-Gon for sure, but can't forget Clone Trooper 99.
Oh.
Drew doesn't care about that, or does he? That is very sad.
About that one.
He's like, this is what I was made for. And then he gets shot, died in the back.
Mr. Hunchback of Notre Dame himself.
Yep. Morgan McKenzie says, I was going to riot if neither of you had Kanan, because that was devastating. Also, my number one, y'all are sleeping on Vader's death. I bawl my eyes out every time.
So were you guys doing top 5 deaths based on emotional impact or based on people we were excited to have die? Because I feel like my answers are going to be different.
Anything.
So like one that we forgot that was pretty impactful was the Tauntaun that saved Luke and Han. We forgot about that death.
Because without that death, they would have both died.
Yeah.
That poor Tauntaun.
Yep.
Justice for the Tauntaun.
So do you know what the temperature of a Tauntaun is internally?
No. Tell me. How do you know?
It's lukewarm.
I thought you've told her that one before.
Oh, I forgot. It's great. You guys are killing it with the jokes today.
Every time Grace is on, we're gonna tell that joke, and every time she's gonna find it funny.
It's solid. It's solid.
Next up, Joseph Dawkins says, I think that Obi-Wan's death is an incredible but also sad moment that really stayed with me throughout the whole saga. And this is probably the biggest one that we totally forgot, which I think I put on my list for sure. One of the most devastating was Tech. Watching him fall in front of the rest of the Bad Batch was pretty sad. Though? Also, really raised the stakes of the show. This is Assassination 300 from the Discord.
Is he dead?
He's dead.
Yeah.
He
would be the first person in Star Wars to fall to their death.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I'd have to put that on my list. It was such a very, very sad emotional.
Okay, I think it would have been if all of us went into it thinking he was dead. But the entire last season, I was like, he's gonna come back. He's alive. And then he didn't. So like, it didn't have that. It had an emotional impact in the moment, but then the entire last season, I was waiting for them to bring him back. Granted, they didn't, so he did die. So in hindsight, yes, it had that impact, but in the moment, it had it very briefly. But then I was like, there's no way he's dead. But apparently he is. So,
but now when you go back and watch that scene,
yeah, if I go back and watch it now, it's probably pretty intense,
even worse
for sure.
And last up, lots of food. Another one that for sure is at least an honorable mention, but good old Fives was just the saddest death for me.
Yeah,
that was really good so sad. He figured it all out, and he was shot by his brothers. It was so sad.
It's almost like less sad because I cared about Fives, and more just because like it was such a tragedy for the plot of the story. The fact that they came so close to knowing what was happening, and then they did it, and then it just we know what's coming.
The edge of figuring it out, and then
Yep. All right. Well, that's the Spotify answers. So a lot of good answers. But Grace,
you have a couple.
Top 5 deaths or something?
Vader was the first one I thought of, but like that was before I understood if we were going for people we wanted to die versus like emotional impact. But I couldn't think enough about like bad people that died, so I mostly just went with emotional impact.
That's fair.
I was happy when Darth Maul died, and I thought that was a pretty good scene in Rebels. I don't know, was that on your guys' list?
I think we both
had
it
on both of our lists. It was my number 1, and it was your like number 3, I think.
Yeah.
Spoilers. I thought I have a couple. I'm worried saying this will be too controversial. Whatever. Okay, I'm just gonna go with a different one. I thought Yoda dying was very emotionally impactful. And I have 2 other ones which are from the sequel trilogy, so I'll just leave it at that.
Just go ahead.
Well, don't tell us. That's fine.
Like Han Solo's death was
Solo was mentioned.
That was on my list, and then I took it off. Like,
okay, yeah. So that one is, I think, like really sad, but very well done. I wish he hadn't died, though.
One of the best scenes when Chewie's like screaming, like that scene in that movie was so impactful for sure.
Yeah, because I also like, you really are in the moment think that Kylo is like reaching out to take his hand and go with his dad, and then he kills him. Oh, so sad. Yeah. Also, my last one was when Kylo died, because I was like, oh, I'm so glad he's out of the picture. Enough is enough. But,
what about when Leia dies?
The kiss of death?
I didn't want Leia to die, though. That's the thing. I was sad when she died.
But that's still like it can be in your top 5 because it was so emotional for you.
Yeah, I felt like that one was more frustrating.
I still
sucked the life out of him.
I still think that Leia's death is a really good scene, because like it's like her final act was connecting with her son, because they were like force connected.
You're right.
When Rey stabs Kylo, it kills Leia. Like,
that's a good point. That is pretty beautiful, and it's beautiful for like the larger, like Carrie Fisher had already passed away in real life, so it was kind of
which
her,
we
like,
kind of knew it was going to happen. But...
Yep.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
enough about death. Let's talk about Darth Vader because he has nothing to do with death, right?
You know what is not in my top 5 deaths, though? Just quickly, Padme dying. So unacceptable. They really did her dirty.
I don't like people's gripe with her death because it's just like it's people's.
It also kind of breaks canon.
How breaks canon?
Yeah, because how do they remember her?
We've talked about this with the Obi-Wan show. Come on, bro.
I know. I'm just saying.
We've talked about this. It does not break canon.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. All right. Comics with Grace number 3. Yes. So we got like 40 some slides, so we should just jump into it. And I should just remind you, when we get to like a good breaking point, Grace, we can take a coffee break, just so you let us know.
Or a tea break, whatever you prefer. Either way, they're both on the website.
Perfect.
All right. Well, Grace.
Okay. Amazing.
Take it away.
So I assume that, in the month and a half that's elapsed since we last checked in with this comic, everyone has gone, read the entire comic, dove deeply into the lore, read the other Dr. Aphra comics, and are coming to this just as kind of like a refresher of material that you already know.
Sure, let's go with that. Yeah, that sounds great.
But at the request of Jeremiah, I did decide that I would do like a brief overview of what we covered on the last podcast, just like plot wise. And then we'll just, quickly go over what's remaining in this this comic run. So, just to remind everyone, this is the first run of Darth Vader comics that started coming out, I think 2015 to 2016. And it covers the period between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. There is another set of Darth Vader comics that came out after this, and I think that is set between right after Revenge of the Sith. And then there's a third run of Darth Vader comics that's set in the lead up to Return of the Jedi. So that's the context. There's also some Dr. Aphra comics, but we don't need to get into all of that. This comic in particular is interesting not only because it's the first introduction to Darth Vader in his own comic series, but it also is the comic series that introduced the now somewhat beloved character of Dr. Aphra. Dr. Aphra, for anyone who forgot, is kind of a Han Solo-esque / Indiana Jones / anti-hero rogue archaeologist who's also a historian, who's also a tech whiz, who's also kind of a criminal. She's out in space. Her talents attract Darth Vader, who needs her because he has fallen out of the Emperor's good graces and is trying to consolidate power on his own. He turns to Dr. Aphra to help him acquire a droid army, which she does. Some hijinks ensue, and ultimately he decides to use Dr. Aphra to track down a lead that he has on the identity of the individual who blew up the Death Star, which he eventually realizes is Luke Skywalker. He's obviously very interested in that. Dr. Aphra goes to Naboo, gets some information from, I think, the doctor that treated Padme, starts to make connections between, the fact that Padme did give birth to a child before she died, and the fact that they're looking for this Luke Skywalker figure. And then eventually, her cover, Dr. Aphra's cover, is blown. Darth Vader is about to kill her, and Dr. Aphra reveals to him that she knows where Luke is, and he's on this planet Vros Varga, and that is when Darth Vader is like, okay, you have one last shot. Let's go to Vros Varga. Let's find this Luke Skywalker. And if you execute this mission, I may consider letting you live. So that's basically where we left off last time with the comic. just as things were getting pretty juicy and we were about to introduce, some classic characters like Luke and Leia and Han.
Exciting.
Okay, awesome. So on that note, I will start the slideshow.
All right, fun.
Okay, so yes. Aphra is on her way to Vos Varga, and she's like checking out the classic team, Luke and Leia and Han and 3PO and R2. And I mean, this is kind of funny, and as we'll see as the comic progresses, because I think Aphra's droid, 000 and BT are kind of like the dark 3PO and R2, so that will be relevant as the plot progresses. And also because Aphra is kind of like a foil to Han Solo, it will be interesting to see the two of them interacting. I pulled this little quote because I think it's indicative of some of the interaction between them. You think Han Solo, the Han Solo. Oh me, oh my. What are we going to do facing Han Solo? And then 000 asks, is he particularly fearsome, mistress? And she says, no idea, never heard of him, which I don't know. I just thought was funny. And they head to Vos Varga. At this point, Aphra is starting to get pretty anxious. She realizes that if she fails Vader here, like it's kind of game over for her. And you can see that just in the way that she's approaching the mission and the way that she's interacting with her droids. We arrive on Vos Varga. Luke is at this, I guess there's a rebel base on the planet, but Luke is off on his own exploring a Jedi temple. And I think I didn't include all of the slides from his experience in the temple, but basically he's having a connection to the Force, and he feels something. He thinks that maybe he's feeling Obi-Wan in the Force, and then he's like, no, I think I'm feeling my father. But at this point, he doesn't know that his father is Vader, so it's kind of like a little Vader is there, Luke is feeling Vader, but isn't making the connection between the two.
That's interesting that he associated with his father, because Obi-Wan says he's dead. So
yeah, it's also interesting because you'd think that he would feel the darkness when he felt his father, but clearly he's connecting to some like remaining light in Vader. I'm not really sure how to interpret it.
Right.
Okay. So this is all a lot of text, but basically Aphra comes up with a plan. She realizes that 000 and 3PO look pretty similar, and she's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to paint 000 gold and have him pose as 3PO and infiltrate with Luke. And of course, Luke, like per usual, he's just being like young and inexperienced, totally falls for it. You can see here 000 comes, is acting like 3PO. R2 is going crazy trying to tell him what's happening, and Luke's just like totally oblivious, doesn't notice. So they are successfully able to incapacitate Luke and capture him, which is funny / a little bit scary, because at this point we're starting to see kind of Aphra as more of a villain than an anti-hero, since she is, hurting Luke, our main hero. Interesting.
It's kind of funny because I, have your PowerPoint presentation, and like I went through it to like make some adjustments for the YouTube thing. So like I didn't really read anything, but like I'd see some of these screenshots. I'm like, what the heck is going on? What is C-3PO doing? But, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
The eyes, Jeremiah. The red eyes.
Well, we saw them red eyes in Rise of Skywalker, so I don't know.
That's what maybe color are his eyes normally?
They're gold, like yellow. Yeah. But like, I was like, I don't know, maybe Babu Frick is here and he's attacking him. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe the 3PO we had in the sequel trilogy was actually 000. Like,
That'd make that movie a lot more interesting than it was. Okay.
Oh yeah, and one thing I wanted to note here, so at this point in the comic run, and this is like I'm not a complete comic expert, and this is where I start to get a little lost with the whole plot, but this comic like issue is a crossover with the mainline Star Wars comic, which was like happening at the same time, which is telling the story of like Luke, Leia, and Han during this time period. So I think part of the story like is not in the Darth Vader comic, and if you want the full story of like what's happening on Rose Varga, you have to go read the Star Wars mainline comic as well. But yeah, I'm just
is this the High Republic we're talking about here, or what?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's complicated, and you have to like read some explainers on websites online. Like, it was too much effort for me, but I think there is some missing detail that I have not covered. So for anyone interested in being a completist, I recommend you do that. But anyway, they capture Luke, and at this point, I'm not really yeah, so they capture Luke, and then they get into a fight with Han and Chewie, and 000 loses his arms, Luke gets away, then Aphra like recaptures him. It's kind of a lot of back and forth. We have this little interaction where 000 steals 3PO's arms.
Or C-3PO, he's always losing appendages and
I know.
complete bodies.
I kind of feel like he needs to get better at self-defense. Like, why doesn't he get a few little like zippy zappy things in his hands?
Zippy zappy things. I don't know.
Say that 10 times.
Zippy zappy things.
I don't know what they're called. Okay. So, yeah. Meanwhile, Vader is dealing with the kind of issue. I forget what this guy is named, and I don't have it written down in my bullet points, but I think you guys remember from the first half of the comic, the Emperor, in order to test Vader, has created this like secondary training program where he has this mad scientist who's augmenting people and giving them like technologies that allow them to replicate use of the Force, and they're like supposed to be the backup plan in case things with Vader don't work out. So he's fighting those people on the planet and is like too busy to help out, and therefore like it's up to Aphra to save Vader. And she's lost Luke at this point, but she thinks that if she can meet up with Vader, help him out, the two of them can go and like recapture Luke, because I think he's still on the planet. And so Aphra like decides that the only way to save him in this moment is to crash her beloved ship, the Archangel, like onto this guy that Vader is fighting, and sacrifice the ship for like saving his life. So that's what she does. It's a pretty good scene. It's actually better if you go and listen to the audiobook that covers the story of this comic series. I thought it was like really well rendered in the audiobook.
They do audiobooks for comics?
For this one, there is an audiobook that I think it's from like the Aphra perspective. So the whole storyline, but like narrated from her perspective.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's really good. It's only like 5 hours. I'd highly recommend it.
Cool.
So, yeah, Vader like kills this guy again. Not so important. She and
Did he fall for the trap?
For those of you doing the audio only, there's a Mon Calamari on screen. Anyway.
Yeah. I think he got trapped by the ship. Pretty trapped, pretty smashed. He dies. And then Vader crashes the ship that Luke is on, and Aphra goes to try to help, and as she's going, she gets like semi captured by Han, or like she and Han meet up, and there's like some discussion, some trash talking, and it kind of looks like she's going to capture all three of them. And then I forgot. Yeah, she has the whole like area around their ship rigged with a minefield, and they're just dropping their weapons. It looked like she's going to take control. Vader is on his way, and then Leia shows up and punches her in the face.
Dang.
Yeah. Which I also loved, like Leia being a badass, Aphra being stupid. Like, it's funny.
From this angle, I thought it was Luke for a second because Leia has her hair up, and it like you're seeing like Han and Luke. I'm like, did Luke just punch this girl in the face? But okay, good. Okay, we're good.
I was like, they couldn't have in 2020 whatever year or 20 whatever year just came on like a man punching a woman.
No. That's why I was like, wait, hold up. Luke was like, I had enough, and I'm like, okay. But no, it's Leia. All right,
and also fair. Like another good reminder that at this point in the story, Aphra is like fully an enemy of all of our main heroes.
Right.
Also, as far as like what happens next with Aphra, it's not covered in the comic, but it is in that audiobook. Like, she gets taken back to a public prison. She like orchestrates a whole prison break. And then it
of course she does. Sounds about right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that.
Leia's standing over her body as she's knocked out.
Yeah, no, being epic. She says she knows things. Let's get her aboard. So then Luke, Leia, and Han head out. Luke is still thinking about the fact that he was like really close to something in the temple, like kind of acknowledging the fact that he felt something. But he doesn't know what it is, and Vader's looking on as Luke gets away yet again. So that's the end of that arc and the crossover with the mainline heroes. And from this point onwards, we get a storyline in which Vader and Aphra are at odds, because at this point, Aphra has failed Vader, and Vader is out to get revenge on her for, being unable to deliver him his son.
I don't know, but Vader was there the whole time. Like, he could have got him. Like, come on. Like,
yeah.
What was stopping him?
Was it just distracted by the trap?
But was it just like he was too far away from them to like intervene, or was?
Yeah, he was like fighting the other rebels or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like Vader is the most reasonable of bosses. So yeah,
that's right. True. I don't think he really needs an excuse at this point, Jeremiah.
I guess you're right.
Like, working for him was probably a bad idea on her
There's
part.
definitely no HR involved. That's what you're asking.
Yeah. So yeah, now we enter the Vader v Aphra era. Oh, okay. Yes, I thought I would read this opening crawl. It's like the next chunk of the story is this Shu Torin war. I'm actually not going to go much into that in this comics presentation, because it's a part of the comic that is focused mostly on Vader, and not really on Aphra, but it is a part of the comic that people who are interested should go and read and check out. But I will read the opening crawl just to provide the context. It is a time of chaos for the Empire. After the destruction of the Death Star, Darth Vader is showing no mercy to any rebel sympathizers in an effort to regain allegiance from the ore-rich planet Shu Torun. Vader has assassinated the royal family and cast the throne to its youngest surviving daughter, the Queen of Trios. Despite the deadly warning, rebel acts continue, requiring further reprimand from the Empire. Elsewhere, Vader's secret ally, Dr. Aphra, has fallen into the hands of the rebels. Vader has issued a bounty for her recovery, dead or alive, prepared to bring an end to any who dare test him. Meanwhile, Shu-Torun has banded together to fight back against Vader's attacks. Hope seems slim until a new ally surfaces, Kylo. Or maybe CeeLo.
Green?
What?
I said CeeLo Green. Do you know who CeeLo Green is?
I do, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes, I know.
Oh, okay, finally. Like, if she doesn't know who CeeLo Green is, and that means we're really old if she doesn't even know who CeeLo Green is.
No, he used to judge The Voice. I remember that.
Yes, and then he's been canceled for multiple reasons.
I forgot about that.
But we're not getting into that.
Anyway.
He was canceled before canceling was a thing. Like,
you're right. I vaguely remember that.
That was bad. Anyways, let's keep going.
The only thing I will flag from this opening crawl, and curious to hear if you guys have thoughts, but I think it's interesting that, again, we're not really getting into the storyline, but this storyline, as you see, once again, sets Vader up with like a young female counterpart, this like new queen that he's propped up for some reason, and I don't think they're wrong. The Darth Vader comics writers have realized that Vader as a like dark stoic character is best paired with like a chatty female character. So in this one we have Dr. Aphra and this Queen of Trios. I forget what her name is, but she's pretty cool. And then in the other Vader comics we have Sabe. So yeah, just kind of a funny note that I picked up on.
That is kind of
ironic.
Kind of funny, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if we're meant to read into it.
I don't know. It just sounds like a sitcom, like, you know, two opposites, you know, living together or something, and like the shenanigans that happen, like, it'd be kind of funny, like.
But you think about Anakin, though. He was also paired up with Ahsoka, who's also a chatty, outspoken, very aggressive female. So it makes sense.
Yeah, but they had more in common though than Vader and Aphra. Like, they had parallel story arcs, like in inner conflicts. They just went different directions with those inner conflicts. But that's a whole nother podcast topic for another day.
Yeah. No, but Drew, you're not wrong. Even like Anakin and Padme, I feel like are kind of opposites, but paired up, it's like it works until it doesn't. Okay. So you may remember this guy is I think this guy is maybe Kylo. Wow, why did I not write this down? No, I think I did.
I think same sideburn to mustache
ratio.
His name is Thanoth, not Thanos, Thanoth. And this is the guy that the Emperor has put on Vader as like his monitor. The Emperor is like, I know Vader is up to something and he's not telling me what he's up to. And I want to know what he's doing, what he's doing with this like secret army he's building. He wants information. So he sends this guy who works for the Empire, Thanoth, to like go and observe Aphra and Vader. And this guy has been gathering information, and he's finally like come to this planet to confront Vader. And it's a pretty charged conversation, so I put most of it because
that bottom picture of him kind of looks like Samuel L. Jackson a little bit, just with the lighting on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought it was for some reason.
Funny. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So Vader has come to try to figure out where Dr. Aphra is. I think Thanoth like baited him with information about Aphra, and Thanoth has his own agenda. And I'm going to try to stop saying that name because I'm going to accidentally say Thanos, and I don't want to. So he says, Dr. Aphra, Lord Vader, let's call her by her name. She is your agent after all. Though you should know there are some lingering doubts over her doctorate. And then Vader says, "Where is the girl? This would go a lot quicker if you cut the bluster. I'm not afraid of you. I have something you want. As long as I am in possession of it, I am safe." And Vader's like, "Oh, just tell me. I think I didn't put that picture." And Darth is like, "Patience, Lord Vader. All in good time. Say your piece and make it quick," Vader replies. And then Thanos says he's starting to figure out what's going on with Vader. Like, he's been investigating and he's clearly onto something. "The girl's escape nagged. Too many loose ends, too many coincidences. Something grander was afoot than simple larceny." Because remember, he's investigating how Aphra and Vader stole a bunch of credits to like finance this army or something like that. It doesn't really matter. She was being protected. The suspect was, well, somewhat obvious, Lord Vader. How could she gain patronage of the Dark Lord of the Sith? "I let the business conclude with the slaughter of the plasma devils and investigated, and I uncovered a string of fascinating journeys and an equally intriguing string of bodies. Trips to Tatooine, trips to Naboo, trips to Vros Varga, all routes leading to a certain Luke Skywalker." So as you can see, he's getting a little too close to comfort to the main plot for Vader to be thrilled about. Skywalker. There's a name with a history, eh? A powerful bloodline, so much potential. You wish to find the boy, train him in your ways, and supplant the Emperor. Uh-oh. And Vader is kind of like, why are you doing this? I'm now definitely going to kill you. And Thanos says, "Well, I could send an anonymous message and then spend the rest of my life running while you waste effort that should be spent on rescuing the Empire from itself. Or we could save everyone a whole lot of time." And so here he makes his final reveal. "It's been a pleasure working with you, Anakin. She is on the cosmetic steps."
Oh, dang.
So yeah, this guy clearly has put the pieces together, realized that Vader is Anakin, realized why he's after Luke Skywalker, and is like willing to sacrifice his life for the good of the Empire because he clearly thinks that a empire run by Vader and Luke would be better than an empire run by Palpatine.
So you think that this guy, he figured out on his own that he's Anakin, or do you think he was told it was Anakin by the Emperor?
No, he figured it out on his own because he like figured out the connection between Tatooine and Naboo and Luke Skywalker and Jedi powers. And
okay,
yeah,
that's kind of cool. Because
yeah,
like, it's always like, who knows Vader's actual identity? And there's only like a handful of people. It's like Palpatine, obviously, Masa Amidala, and that bald chick, probably. I can't remember her name.
Who's the bald chick?
That's also there, like on like when he's like addressing the Senate, like when he's like after the fight with Anakin and whatever, and like there's that bald chick, and like she's also like, remember in like the Andor show, like Mon Mothma had to like have a dinner with this person. Like, I hate her so much, blah blah blah. It's like the third person on the podium with Palpatine. What is her name? Chat, if you're there, who's the bald chick from episode 3? Yeah. And then Tarkin knows. Reva knows. And she's
Thrawn
figured it out.
Ahsoka.
Will says,
That's
I forget. That's why you look it up, Will.
It's someone, he said. Okay, yeah. Will, thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, we can move on. But that's
is that a
cool.
Darth Vader cup, Drew?
Oh no. Oh. That would be cool though.
It's like
it's like
is it a camera?
Yeah, it's like a lens cup.
You're just playing a lens cup? Oh, I was like,
it looks like a lens, but it's not.
I have my pink cup.
Nice. I also have a pink cup.
Aw, twinning.
Yeah. Yay.
So cool.
All right, we can move on.
We're clearly in a silly mood. Yeah, so then Vader kills this guy.
That's a cool shot.
That's fun.
That's his cane that he was using? Like,
I guess,
sticking out on the side? Okay.
Yeah.
That's he's trying to fight Vader with the cane.
He brought a cane to a lightsaber fight.
Well, if it was made out of Beskar, like...
True, but
he might have a chance for at least a couple of seconds. But
well, there's no confirmation either way, so maybe it was, but I do think he still dies.
Well, we don't see a body, so we don't know.
Yeah, he's in the same place that Tech is.
Oh, so
hanging
dead.
out.
So dead.
Okay, so that's the end of that storyline. I thought that was kind of like the best part of the comic, but there is whatever. There are some other good parts, and we have to wrap up the story with Aphra. So Aphra is on the run. She is in these like cosmonatic steps, which is a great name. And she's hiding out at this bar, realizing that like it's only a matter of time before Vader finds her, and that she's in trouble.
This came out in 2016.
Yeah,
is that real?
I know, it's so long ago.
So,
jeez.
So all these bars that she hangs out at, like they serve a lot of beverages, right? Like,
yes.
Do you think that they serve hot beverages at these bars?
Oh, yeah. I think that they serve exclusively coffee and tea from like a maker of such beverages in Minnesota, maybe.
I think that's true. And coincidentally, our sponsor for today is also a coffee and tea company out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So it's probably the same one, because Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea is such galactic in its proportions that yeah. So if you like coffee and tea, take a listen to our sponsor today, Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code EMPIRERADIO, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right.
Oh, yes. Back to me. Okay. So she's cornered, she's scared, but she also kind of has a plan.
I like how the what's the astromech droid called?
Oh, BT.
BT. I like how his light is like shining through the door, the swinging doors, saloon doors.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, I love it.
Because that cantina probably doesn't allow their kind here.
Well,
there's a droid right there, like a server droid.
I might make a correction. I think that maybe Aphra is on her own at this point, and the droids are sent by Vader to go and capture her. I think that's what happens.
Oh,
yeah.
So they weren't her droids; they're Vader droids.
They were her droids, and then she's captured by the rebels. And while she's captured by the rebels, Vader finds the droids, and he's like, go capture Aphra. I'll pay you or something. Or he overrides their controls. I think he overrides their command sequences or something. Something like that.
Unlimited oil baths.
Yeah. As you might notice from either the presentation or if you read the comic, the droids are not particularly loyal to Aphra. They're both kind of evil and just out for themselves. And as the comics continue with Aphra, they get progressively like worse. It's in a funny way, but I would say they're always a little bit at odds with her. So it's not too surprising that they turn on her.
Fun.
Okay. So yeah, Aphra's just kind of moping around the bar. We already talked about that. The droids show up and Aphra is like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing?" And she says, "000, what are you doing?" And 000 is like, "Eliminating witnesses. Master Vader was very specific about making sure you hadn't spread word to anyone else. Who knows what you could have said in one of your drunken binges, Master?" And Aphra says, "The rebels captured me. I escaped. I didn't tell anyone anything." And 000 says, "Well done. I'm sure you'll find not telling anyone anything a far less demanding task when you're safely disposed of, Master." So she realizes that the droids are going to kill her, and she comes up with a plan. And she asks, "Okay, what was the specific order you received from Vader?" And he says, "What? To bring you to the executor to await Master Vader, and failing that, to silence you." And so she realizes that the only way to get out of the situation is either like die at their hands or give in. So she says, "I surrender," and she goes with them willingly. And they capture her and take her back to Vader's ship. And then when they get back to the ship, she like uses, I don't know, kind of like a legal solution, and says, "000, I'm to be safely delivered to the executor, right?" And he says, "That you are, Mistress Aphra, nice and safely doomed." And then she responds, "Then your priority order to Vader is complete. New priority order. Get me out of here." And so she's able to override the priority order now that they've completed their order for Vader and get the droids to help her and set her free.
Is that easy?
Yeah, like, I don't know. That's why I wanted to read through all of this, because it's kind of confusing to me too, but I'm just going to assume it's because she was the one that helped to program them.
Yeah, like
it's
they're
like
her droids, so like they did their part that Vader told them to do, and now she's in charge of them again, essentially.
Yeah, but like you would think that the Empire would be okay, we gotta like delete the original, like
it's Vader.
I don't know, he was good with droids, like
he doesn't have time for that though.
but he's
a droid himself.
I'm just saying, it's like Control Alt Delete and like click end task or something. Like it should be that easy. Like
I don't think he memory wiped them.
But I'm just saying,
he probably should have.
I'm just saying if they should know that this was a possibility, so they should have like just first thing you do.
It's Vader. He feels like he's unstoppable. So
I'm just saying he had someone else do it. I don't think he did it himself. Like someone else had to help him. So it's like, come on, like must have been an unpaid intern or something that didn't care about his job or something. I don't know.
Probably
an unpaid intern.
Those are the best kind. Am I right?
Oh
no! All right,
they are not. Having been an unpaid intern too many times, they are not. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I it's a good point, and I feel like Vader should have been able to be fully in control of the droids. The only thing I'll say is that I feel like the story starts because Vader is like recruiting Aphra for like her specific skill set on droid mechanics or something. Like he recruits her to help with these two droids and then to help him get the droid army. So theoretically she has skills that he doesn't have. Again, I'm not really sure how that's possible if he's like an expert mechanic and super powerful in the Force, but I guess theoretically it is. Yeah. So the droids rescue her, and meanwhile Vader is like off fighting the guy that the Emperor has put on him, Kylo, the like mad scientist. He's having all sorts of drama with Dr. Kylo, and Aphra is formulating her plan to save herself from Vader, and her big plan is to go directly to the Emperor.
Oh, dang.
Jeremiah, you're more confused about that. I'm more confused why the writer didn't pick a different name for the next bad guy, like Kylo, like.
Well, okay.
Right?
I'm guessing it's Silo, because I feel like when it's a C, it can revert to an S sound, but K's never revert to an S sound.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're getting political on me.
It's not political. It's like linguistics. Is that the correct word?
It's linguistics, but like not in English, right? When is a C at the start of a word ever a S?
Cyclone.
Oh, okay, you know what? There we go. You're right. I'm wrong. Wow, that was terrible. Okay, great. I'm glad that's going to be on the internet forever.
It's okay. You're a lawyer. It's okay.
Oh boy.
Sue Jeremiah, then it'll be fine. Embarrassment. Sue him for embarrassment.
No, I mean, I brought that onto myself.
Yep.
Okay.
Like Obi-Wan says to Luke or Anakin.
Exactly.
You've done that yourself.
Thanks for getting my reference. Actually, guys, this reminds me. My like master's thesis, I put a Star Wars pun in the title, and nobody ever realized. Like, obviously, the professors didn't realize because they don't watch movies, I guess. And it's on my LinkedIn, the title of the master's thesis, which is like aggressive negotiations, and then like some discussion of like what that thesis was actually about. And recently I had like a lawyer who I had networked with sent me an email, and he's like, yeah, I just looked at your LinkedIn. Is your thesis title a Star Wars pun? If so, I love it. Like, and that was his whole email.
That's cool. So, that at least one person in the world understood it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a super random thing that has nothing to do with anything,
yes.
But like, because that just reminded me. But the president of the university that we went to back when he was the president, he said once, like, he wrote his PhD thing, whatever, however many decades ago. He's like, only 11 people in the world have ever read it. And those are the only 11 people in the world that could understand what I wrote.
Wow.
That's how.
What was it about?
I have no idea. But
he wasn't one of the 11 that read it.
Not me. I probably wouldn't be able to understand the first paragraph because Dr. Anderson was quite smart. So I don't know. This reminded me of that. Super random, but whatever. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Well, theoretically, Dr. Aphra also has a PhD, but as the Thenoth guy says, it's the status of her doctorate is in question. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, her plan is to go and talk to the Emperor and try to get herself out of the situation. And meanwhile, she has formulated a plan, which we don't really see like on screen in the comic, but she's there with the droids and Black Chrysanthemum, who's been helping her throughout the comic. And they have some plan for her to get away, but we don't know exactly what. Yeah. If you like Black Chrysanthemum, he's in a lot of the Aphra storylines going forward as well.
Awesome. I'd like to know more about his backstory because, like, he's got a little.
Does he have his own comic? Just Black Chrysanthemum?
Is that right?
I swear I thought he did.
Like, I knew he was from the comics. I just don't know if he ever had like his own. Because it's kind of like you can see in this shot right here, a whole comic was just like a Wookiee sound. Like, you can't really have dialogue with him.
But you can have like mental dialogue though.
I guess, but.
You definitely, if he might have his own comic, that sounds right. I know there's like a bounty hunters comic, so he might have like an issue or two in that. But I
think maybe that's something
like 80% positive they
Will,
give like some
look it up, please.
Yes, please. Well, they give some like background flashbacks on his story in like a future Aphra comic. Like we see how she helped rescue him from some sort of like enslavement in Tatooine. Like I don't know, just a classic backstory related to Tatooine.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So, Aphra goes to the Emperor. I'll read this. she's talking to the Emperor, and then Vader walks in, and Aphra's like, "Why did you never introduce me to your boss? The Emperor is one hell of a guy."
What the heck?
Which is, yep, not what I would say if I was in the same room as those two.
Definitely not.
And I like how it's like all black, and then she has like the bright like orangish red vest and like the bright goggles, blue pants. Like it's just kind of a funny contrast.
I will forever ask questions about the tendency of Star Wars characters to wear hats and goggles, but like never actually put the goggles on. She does it. Hera does it. That's it.
Little Annie puts goggles on when he does pod racing. Pod racing is the only time we see goggles on.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So Emperor says creating your own empire within the empire, securing finances by open robbery from imperial treasures, covering up the crime by slaughtering those who would expose you. And then Aphra says, "Oh boy, you are in trouble." And then the Emperor goes the other way and says, "Most impressive, Vader." And so then Aphra's like, "Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Vader is not going to be happy with me now." And she like kind of tries to save herself, but she can kind of also tell that it's over for her. And she's talking to him, and she says, "I didn't betray your real secret, whatever's going on with you and that rebel kid. So things couldn't have ended better for you, boss. You understand? Yeah." And Vader says enter, and he's pointing to the airlock. And you might remember from like the start of the comic, when they first started their relationship, Aphra was like, "Just promise me one thing. If you kill me, like don't kill me by throwing me out an airlock."
Oh
And
yeah, I remember that.
yeah, but it
And
looks like
there's the
Vader is
airlock.
going to like disregard her one wish and kill her by throwing her out the airlock.
Dang.
Yeah.
That would be a horrible way to go.
Really, really bad.
Implode.
Yeah.
Do we know what actually happens? Because I feel like what we see in movies and shows is not accurate.
Well, you don't float around. That's
Well,
what you're asking.
You would. You just.
But then you blow up, right?
I don't know if that.
Did you
Isn't
guys
there
watch-
like a monkey in history that happened to, and that's how we know, or something?
I don't know.
Like when we're sending animals to space and trying to figure it out. I'm pretty sure we know because of an animal blowing up.
I don't know.
Like,
Well, like we always see like people like
Will look it up.
You will.
like we always see in movies like they freeze and get like frost. But like
Well,
I don't know. If that's
I don't think
accurate.
that's right. I think they literally just pop.
Because you don't. I don't think you can lose your body heat. Because like there's nothing. It's a vacuum, so your body heat can't get transferred to anywhere else. So it's like you'd maintain your body heat, right? Grace, you know this stuff, right?
Come on, Grace.
What?
You didn't take an astronomy
You guys started
class?
talking about science, and I
No,
zoned
come
out.
on. I don't know. I just feel like you wouldn't frost over because you'd maintain your body heat because you can't transfer it. It's like.
What are you talking about?
Like you go into outer space.
Oh, like in outer space, like in movies and stuff, like they frost over.
Yeah.
They freeze. But like that would mean that you would lose your body heat, but you can't transfer heat through a vacuum.
I mean, we could Google it. I can.
Well, you don't need
one of my friends.
We got chat. We see. Okay, Gakman.
I said help. Chat.
Gakman also is active in the thing. How do you freeze in space if it was just
chat? Help us out. There's 6 people in here. Let's come on.
All right. Well, anyway, Grace. Oh, as they're looking at Grace, let's keep moving.
Okay.
The Earth's warm, isn't it?
Guys.
Yeah, we're surrounded. That's what Gakman says. The Earth is surrounded by a vacuum and doesn't lose the heat. So.
Yeah, but space isn't warm.
Right, but you can't lose kind of like like a water bottle. You know how it's like layered and it's like empty between the two layers because it's a vacuum? Because you can't lose or gain heat through the vacuum.
I just thought they blew up.
I don't.
Like internally, your body starts like deteriorating internally. Because the pressure, like, it's like going underwater, super, super deep water. You implode.
Okay, but that's because you have the weight of the water pushing on you. But in space, you're not having the weight of anything crushing you. Right, Grace?
We're gonna spend half this.
All right, we're making good time tonight.
I have texted my friend who went to MIT. If he responds in time, we will get the official scientific perspective on what happens if you fall out of a spaceship in space.
Okay, awesome.
All right, whatever they say, go, Jeremiah. No argument, okay? MIT.
Well, I'll text Neil deGrasse Tyson and see what he has to say, and we'll compare our answers.
You guys were looking for content to fill the time between now and Skeleton Crew. This is what we'll do. We'll just have scientific text discussions.
Star Wars science debates. There's a.
Okay, the chat said fun. The chat said you will freeze, but it will take a long time, like 18 hours and 30, or it's 18 to 36 hours.
But
that sounds real. I like whoever
time
put that
is relative in space. Like you go different.
Okay, here we go.
Have you seen it? Like if you watch Interstellar, Drew, one of the best movies ever made, you would know that.
I have not seen it yet.
The best movie ever made.
Whoa, that's aggressive.
Wow,
we've said that. I've told you it's the best movie. It's not necessarily my favorite movie, but it's the best movie.
Wow, why?
But you haven't seen Godzilla -1 yet, Jeremiah.
That is true, but
you think that's the best movie ever made?
I don't know. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I heard good things about it, but I haven't seen it.
I'm gonna get Netflix soon to watch a couple shows, and it's on there. So I'm just been super busy. So
what other shows are you watching on Netflix?
Well, you got Cobra Kai, season 6. Part 1, and then Umbrella Academy final season just dropped, so it's like I gotta watch those. But
I watched Umbrella Academy; it was good.
Jeremiah
final
is
season. You watched the final
chat,
season.
You don't need to say that.
Grace, you watched the final season?
Yeah, I watched the final season.
That was good.
Was
it better than the crappy 3rd season?
No.
Ooh.
What? So you
it
think
was not
season?
Better. It was fine. Like it was about equivalent to how every season except maybe the first season of the show has been, but it was fine. At least it ended. I enjoyed it.
Did you though?
I don't know.
I want to say your expectations low. Like it's like not high quality television.
The first two seasons of Umbrella Academy were amazing. I thought.
Yeah.
3rd season was just kind of like they're just stuck in a stupid hotel for the whole thing. I'm like, this is stupid. But all right, well,
whatever. I get it. It was one. Since it's on Netflix, you can binge it. It goes quickly.
Yep.
I was sad when it ended, but mostly just because the story was over. Okay. Yeah, we're basically at the end of the comic anyway, so it's fine that we're getting off track. Airlock. And she's like, no, don't throw me out the airlock. That's terrible. Don't do it. You promised. And Vader is like,
why? What is her? I forget. Why does she not want to die to airlock throwing?
I think it's just because of like what we were just talking about. Like it's a terrible way to die. And she feels like at the beginning of the story, she's like, I think he's probably going to kill me. And like, when you kill me, just kill me with a lightsaber. Don't throw me out an airlock. Gotcha. But as you might see now, like she's being super dramatic about it for a purpose. So he throws her out the airlock because he sucks. And she goes into space. Unfortunately, we do not have a close-up view, so we can't tell what's scientifically happening in her body. Therefore, we cannot settle the debate. It's a pretty good art shot.
She's holding her breath, though. We know that. Hopefully.
Okay.
Well, not, she would die.
My friend says you freeze to death. And he says that the way they did it in Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty accurate.
That's
Hey, MIT, Jeremiah.
I don't know.
MIT. Remember, MIT.
I don't have a stake. You know,
because that would
whatever.
mean freeze to death
I
would
can't
mean that
argue. I'm bad at science.
you would die before you would suffocate, which I feel like I don't know if that's.
Oh, that's fair. Actually,
I don't know. Dude, I'm terrible at holding my breath. Like I'm hitting 20 seconds and I'm like hurting. Like
the chat said you would suffocate before you'd freeze to death.
yeah, we got the chat on our side. I don't know.
No.
I don't think that's inconsistent with you. Yeah, that's
By
fine.
the way, Grace, we forgot to tell you what the chat was saying earlier, very early in the chat, that they liked your outfit because it looks like Return of the Jedi Luke.
Was that
intentional? Oh my gosh. Wow, that was not intentional. I did have a Star Wars hoodie on and then I was just too hot. But thank you, whoever said that. Like now I feel like I don't feel as bad about not wearing something Star Wars
any moment
related.
a Rancor is going to break through that door in the background and she's going to have to fight the Rancor.
I feel like I need black gloves though, which I don't have, unfortunately.
Well, just one black glove.
Oh yeah, darn it. Yeah, you're right. Okay. That would be a good cosplay.
Just a white, if you just had a white glove, then you could just be Michael Jackson.
Well, that's a different kind of cosplay.
Yeah.
All right, comics.
Okay.
Jeez, Jeremiah, you normally aren't the one that does this. Just
I don't know. We're just having a fun night tonight. That's all.
Okay, now I totally forgot what was happening. Oh yeah, Aphra's in space. Vader is on the deck of the ship, feeling sad about Luke. He's like, "I'm gonna find you, son. I'm coming." Aphra is in space. And it's like, is she dying? Is she not dying? Turns out, the ship comes to pick her up. It's BT and 000 and Black Chrysanthemum. And they come and they get her and they bring her on board. She's a little cold. And
she has a blanket on, Jeremiah, because she's dying internally.
You might see some cold freezing. But again, this is Star Wars. We're not going to judge the science. We're not going to get into it any further. And it turns out...
She texted her MIT guy.
Not only have they saved her, and as she like tricked Vader into thinking she's dead and tricked the Emperor into thinking she's dead, but I guess it's not shown. I don't have the picture of it, but they also like managed to steal a bunch of credits. So it was a win-win situation. She gets away, they get their money, and she's back to being kind of like an anonymous criminal in the galaxy.
So she purposely wasn't hoping that she get yeeted into space because they were waiting to pick her up.
Yeah,
like that was all intentional.
I think it was a multi-layer plan. This is the most generous interpretation I can give to it.
So maybe she was planning this from like day one, that maybe one day if he got to that point, he would throw her out and she'll hopefully have a backup plan.
Maybe.
Let's go with that. She sounds smart. She has a doctorate, right?
in like history, but yeah.
Well, don't judge Grace. Gee. It's
You're
crazy
right.
because one of the roasters for this company that like roasts out of my building, she has her doctorate in Nazi history in World War II.
Oh, whoa.
Like she specializes in like German Nazi history in World War
I guess it's important so we don't repeat the past. So it's
correct.
Like...
That's literally what it is. But what kind of job do you get with that? You create a coffee shop and make coffee. That's what you do, because that's not unless she wanted to go teach. So it's like weird because every time I get email from her about like what coffee she's gonna roast, and like if I like need to help her bring her green coffee to the roaster like the day before, it always is with her like doctor title, and I'm like, oh, this is so weird. Okay.
But it just says doctor, right? It doesn't say like doctor of...
No. But I was just like, why does this say doctor that I asked her what it was? I was like, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Interesting. That's really funny. Yeah. So Aphra's like, that was fun. Let's never do it again. And rides off into the sunset with her team on to many more comics and spin-offs and crossovers with Luke and Leia and Han. There's a whole like series of comics in like I think the second Dr. Aphra comic run where she and Luke team up. And so her adventure after she leaves Vader is just beginning. And as you can imagine, they do cross paths again and have another pretty interesting confrontation. But yeah, that's the end. I am not sure why I connected so much with Aphra. I think it's some combination of the fact that she is a cool female character, that she's a historian and an adventurer, and I love history, and that she's kind of complex and sometimes good and sometimes bad. And I think the coolest thing about her is that because she is a new character that they made up, she's able to exist in all of these different plot lines, and there's like no existing story holding her back. So like the writers can kind of just insert her in a way they can't with like Luke and Leia or even Vader. So yeah, there's a lot of potential with the character. I think it would be great if they brought her to the screen someday, but even if she's just in the comics, like she's a lot of fun, and I recommend anyone interested check out both
She
the
doesn't
Aphra
have like a
comics and
death
Vader.
or anything.
Not yet.
They could bring her
They
in like
could,
Mandoverse.
yeah.
That'd be kind
Well,
of
they
cool.
could add her in the Grogu movie, honestly.
Or
Yeah.
or Skeleton Crew would be cool.
Oh, true. Oh, that would have been actually really cool if that was the person that helped them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
If it was her character instead of some Jedi that we have no attachment to. Like, if it would have been her, that would have been actually really cool. Because they're like trying to find treasure, whatever they're trying to find, and fighting pirates, and then they find her. That'd be kind of cool. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
It's
The
just
only
weird,
issue
like
is
that they
she'd be
don't.
old.
How old is she? And like this,
That's true.
Well, I don't know. Like, how old do you think? Like
she looks like she's
27,
in
30?
like no, like not too old, like no over 30, not over 30. So like
Yeah.
She has her doctorate though, Jeremiah.
that doesn't. But like this is between episodes 4 and 5 still, right? Like where we just ended. So like, it'd be an additional 7 years until the Mandoverse starts.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that it was so soon after.
So like she'd
She'd
probably
be in her,
be
like maybe
40, maybe 45 at the
Oh,
oldest.
yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
Like, and she seems to be like, maybe I'm wrong, but like Asian. So it's like you could have like, I don't know, how old is Aquafina? Like,
true. That would be kind of weird character though for her.
Oh, yeah, she has to.
Because Aquafina is like a funny like.
Oh yeah, but there's other actors that are predominantly comedic, but they still do a great job like in serious roles.
Jack
Aphra's
Black
actually
in
funny.
that's true.
No,
Jack Black episode 7, Amanda season 3.
But it's just like they always create these new characters randomly, but like I just wish they would like
actually put him in the stuff.
Like, but like her, like why create Jude Law's character when they could have had, bring in someone from the comics or books that like people like that introduce them to the comics more. Like,
yeah, I mean we did get Black Casantan in but like yeah, I kind of wish they would do like something that's like her, who is very loved by the community, and like why wouldn't they give it to her live action? I think I could be wrong, but I think her character is on Galaxy's Edge, like shows up.
Oh really? That's so cool.
That she's like walking around. I could be wrong though, but I swear I thought she was one of the newer ones that were added.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been so easy to put her in like the Boba Fett show too. I guess it's because like Dave Filoni is making the shows right now, and she's not a Dave Filoni character, so maybe he's just like
but
not
now
as
the Black
interested.
Casantan wasn't.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, great point.
I think every character is Dave Filoni character now that he's
chief creative officer. He can do whatever he wants. So
yeah,
well, he can't do whatever he wants, but he has a lot of influence. So it's like it'd be
I
cool
did
to
watch
see
a
her.
video about what's her name and how her contract's up like next month.
Kathleen Kennedy.
Uh,
Do you think she's going to get rehired, or do you think
probably? But one can hope.
Well, did you put in your application, Drew?
I'm trying to write it out. I might need your help to.
Well, your wife could really sell you way better than me.
We're really coming full circle. All right, yeah. Well, that's it for Aphra. Do you guys think you'll go back and read the comics?
I don't know. Like it would be cool to like if I could get my hands on like the now out of print like Vader set of like the book that's like all the Vader comics.
Yeah.
But like
I think they do sell that though.
Oh, they did, but it's not like you can't. You have to get off on eBay or something. Like you can't buy it new.
Oh, really?
Because I've looked it up and I was gonna buy it before, like, but like I don't know. Like it's just, I don't know. There's so many comics, so many books to read. Like
I bet you they have a whole Dr. Aphra like
thing.
Maybe
comic book.
Because like is Aphra's like you didn't say she has a death, but there's like. Did it come to an end yet, or is it like so they're
Not
still
yet.
doing it?
Unless it's ended in like the last month or two. I haven't checked, but I think the story is gonna end, but not yet. Maybe this year.
Interesting.
Yeah, and as I think I mentioned this before, but you can read for like $8.99 a month on the Marvel Unlimited app. They have like all of the Star Wars comics, which is how I read them. Pretty affordable. I'm also sure that there are other ways one could read them online for free, but you'd have to look into those individually.
We support law-abiding citizens here at Empire Radio.
Or you could buy them at your local comic book store.
You could do that too.
That would be expensive.
Like, Drew, where is there even a comic book store? Is there even
like
one?
The biggest one, like not even that far from here. Why?
Where?
Rosedale. What's the name of it?
It's the biggest one ever, but you don't.
It is the biggest one in Minnesota. It's huge. It's like a warehouse building.
Okay, but they're like mom and pop ones anywhere.
There's definitely a mom and pop one, probably like within like 10 minutes from your house. I would guarantee it. Just look up comic book stores, bro. I'm gonna look up one right now and see if there's one by my house.
I've never done that. Well, Grace. Well, we bring the presentation. Grace, thank you for this lovely presentation. A lot of fun. We had a lot of tangents tonight, but that's okay. But yeah, so we appreciate that, and we don't have your next one planned, but there's a lot of options. We kind of had this, open up so that you could do more Dr. Aphra stuff in the future, but maybe we could, take a pit stop somewhere else on another comic if you like or something. I don't know. We'll talk about it in the coming weeks and months of what you would like to do.
Yeah. And if people have suggestions, I'm always open to things that
I've heard good things about the Son of Dathomir comics, the Darth Maul ones. Have you read those ones yet, Grace?
I haven't.
That actually sounds dope.
Well, maybe you gotta start
that sounds like something
we
should do.
Maybe you should be paying $8.99 a month and go read those, not for free, right?
I do pay $8.99 a month.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I know. Okay, these ones are Marvel, but there's a Dark Horse does comics too, or something like that.
There are Dark Horse comics, which are I've only read Dark Horse comics for like High Republic stuff, but I think they have.
Wait, so Dark Horse also has the rights now again?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's like a bunch. There's like usually like a mainline Marvel like Star Wars comic, and then some spin-offs that are adjacent to the story.
Oh yeah, no, Dark Horse doesn't have the license anymore. Yeah, they lost the license when Disney took over. Marvel started producing.
But I thought there was a second company that does. There's Marvel and another one that does the comics.
I didn't know that.
No, I thought that's what. I thought that's what Grace said.
Yeah, Dark Horse definitely has High Republic comics. I've read them.
Yeah, the chat's confused. I am too. I didn't know they did that.
Well, anyway. So, yes. Well, thank you, Grace. So we'll keep in touch on what, and if you have ones that you have suggestions or anything like that, we'd love to hear your suggestions. But if you're listening to this episode, either on YouTube or on Spotify or whatever, go put in the comments what you would like for a comic series, one of your favorites or something that you haven't read but you would like to get all the details on. We'd love to get those, so leave those in the comments. Any other final thoughts, Grace, on Dr. Aphra and Vader?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we should transition over to everyone's favorite time of every episode, voicemail time.
Yay.
It's voicemail time.
All right. Fun. All right. So we have 6 voicemails tonight. First 3 are from E, and that was not supposed to rhyme, but yes. So then we have a first time sender also, and then 2 return senders as well. So first up from the first 2 from E are kind of back to back, so I'll play them back to back. So let's take a listen to his first one.
Hey, Empower Radio. This is E. I don't think I've told you where I live. I'm in Denver, Colorado. So, yeah, thank you for your recent episode on the top 5 deaths in Star Wars. I was wondering what you guys thought about Sheev Palpatine's death, plural. Whether it's like episode 6, I'm sure a lot of death happened with the clones, maybe. And then I guess maybe ultimately in The Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, what do you guys thought about his death? Because I think it kind of ends this source of evil. I feel like he's like the dark side embodied and how powerful and evil he is. Along with that, what about Dooku's death? It seems like Dooku's death also propelled Anakin towards the dark side. Because you could argue, okay, the killing of the Raiders, Tusken Raiders, was a justification, but Dooku was like, he knew he shouldn't have done that, but he did it with Palpatine encouraging him to do it. So what about those? And yeah, those are my 2 questions. And then a third question is, if you could kind of, if Disney said, hey, you can write your own Star Wars story, a trilogy, where would you go? What would you write about? Future, past, where would you go?
All right. And then he was going to continue that question in this next one, so take a listen.
So I didn't finish that third question fully. So if you could, write your own story, a trilogy, where would you go? And if you can't answer it quickly, maybe you could do a episode on it. Designing your own story, characters, the themes, the villains, the good guys. Yeah, what would you do? Where would you go in the future, past, in between, etc.? Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you, E, for those questions and comments. So first up, he asked about Sheev Palpatine's death and Dooku's death. Our thoughts on those, and he kind of like explained how Sheev has many deaths. Episode 6, his clones, bunch of clones probably died of himself, and then his final death. I don't know. He came back in the final movie for some reason. Somehow he returned. So I think it's kind of like, it was a cool death for me, but it was also like
kind of,
we didn't need it to end. But like, if it's a final end to like the Sith and like the dark side, like as the Sith manifests it, like sure, it's cool. But I don't know. What do you guys think of Sheev Palpatine's deaths?
Stop saying that. You're saying it on purpose. I know you are.
What do you mean?
The name, his first name.
Oh, that's right. Drew hates the name Sheev.
I hate it.
I think it's a cool name.
Where does your hatred come from? Tell me more.
We didn't get it until later, and so it
feels
rubs me the wrong way. Yes, but anyways, Palpatine's death. I think it was really good in episode 6, and like it had the whole like it was very meaningful when like Vader was the one that saved his own kid and sacrificed himself and also ended him. But like in Star Wars, no one falls to their death, so we got him back. So it kind of like took it away. So I think like the final one didn't really mean too much to me, truthfully. When I thought we already got rid of him. Like I think the concept and like who Rey is and like that, like I'm not mad about that. I think that's kind of cool. But it kind of it didn't hit me the same as like certain other deaths that I mentioned in my top 5, especially like Anakin's mom. Like that was a really intense death because that did so much to his character and like ruined his character. And like I think like Dooku, for instance, like that was definitely impactful and he knew what he was doing was wrong and everything, but I don't think it fully pushed him. It kind of just like confirmed that he was going to listen to Palpatine more than anything and like listen to what he was telling Anakin to do. But I think like his mom's death and how he reacted and he killed the women and the children was this like the start of that downfall for him.
Grace, your thoughts on Palpatine's
I don't have a lot to add. I think that's really good. I wish I had thought of his mom's death. That was a really good
Jeremiah didn't forgot about her too.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. I was like going through all the movies and thinking of all the deaths, and I totally forgot about that. But
I had put down like just when I was briefly thinking about it, Palpatine as well. I agree with what you just said, Drew, that like compared to others, maybe it's not the most impactful. And I certainly don't like even think about or acknowledge the death situation in episode 9, but like in episode 6, it does have some emotional impact. And if he had stayed dead, maybe it would have more emotional impact.
Yeah, because I think like the whole cloning thing of Palpatine is really cool. I think they could have just done it in a way where it wasn't actually Palpatine. Like it was just a clone of him.
Well, that body in episode 9 is a cloned body.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know.
You want it to like look more like Snoke?
Yeah, or look, like maybe not look fully like him.
Well, he did look pretty rotten, but then once he sucked their energy, like it healed him to like.
I didn't really enjoy that.
I kind of thought that was cool.
Did you? I forget. Did you guys read the like Master and Apprentice book?
Yeah.
Yeah. So does that make you guys appreciate the Dooku death more because you have a bit more of a connection to Dooku?
Dooku, Master and Apprentice?
No, I don't know. Sorry. Did you read a book that involved Dooku? I forget what it's called.
Oh, Dooku Jedi Lost.
Yeah,
the audio drama one. So I've read that one and I listened to the audio drama part of it, and it is very interesting. But there is the whole. It's kind of seemingly a retconned with Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, shows and movies have canon priority over books and comics. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting because like he was still definitely like a good guy trying to do the right thing.
Exactly.
And stuff, but I don't know. I like Dooku as a character. I think they could do like a Dooku show and that would be interesting to me. But I don't know.
Okay, back to the comic licensing is weird. I didn't know that was a thing. We just gotta Yeah, go
So
ahead, Jeremiah.
eSportsy in the chat says Dark Horse had license until 2014. Marvel gained license in 2012 and relaunched canon. IDW gained all ages license in 2017 and Dark Horse in 2022. So there are 3 publishers currently: Marvel, IDW, and Dark Horse.
Huh.
Wait,
And
the license for IGW expired in 2022. So it's
just 2 right now: Dark Horse and Marvel.
But it's so weird because I
What?
don't understand that.
What?
Why wouldn't Marvel have the licensing? Because Disney owns Marvel. Like, why would you have a different company do the licensing? You know what I mean? Like, is that not weird to anyone else?
Well, it's still, but Lucasfilm is still a separate company, though. So, like, you still have to put the paperwork in. Like, I don't know, like, Pixar can't just randomly make a Star Wars Pixar movie. Like, as cool as that would be, like, they still have to, like, submit to.
Dude, Dark Horse rumors have paid $80 million for the licensing to get it back. All right, I would pay it too. All right, you can take it back. 80 million? Go ahead. Yeah, you can write some High Republic books. Go ahead. Jeez.
Wow.
But if that's an investment, they think that they're going to make $80 million back
on High Republic.
That's your answer, right? They like.
Yeah, that's my answer. Yeah. They're like, hey, hold up! Don't forget about me. My horse has some money with it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, anyway, back to.
It doesn't hurt them to have like the entire Marvel storyline and then a separate Dark Horse storyline, like going at the same time if they're getting $80 million extra out of it, I suppose.
Yeah, probably not. I have the original Marvel episode 1 from whatever. I don't even know.
That's sitting right there on your.
Yeah, this one. It's
framed.
The original one, and I have the original artist signature on it.
That's so cool.
Fun.
It's like my brother bought it for me.
Wow.
All right. Well.
Yes.
Back to the question. He also asked about Dooku's death. How do you feel about Dooku's death?
Oh yeah, I feel like we talked about it when I tried to bring up the book. I don't have anything else to add.
Oh, I think it was kind of a cool death because he thought he was the top guy. He didn't really know about Anakin's being the chosen one. I don't think really. And so when good old Sheev is like, kill him, like the shock on his face of like, bro, we were supposed to like rule the galaxy together. What's going on? And he gets decapitated. So, but then his other question is, if we could make our own Star Wars trilogy, what would it be about? I don't know.
I mean, my like quick answer, like cop-out answer, is that they should do the High Republic trilogy. I think that's just like really low-hanging fruit. They have the story and it's in trilogy form. I'm kind of confused why they went with Acolyte and not with that story. But I'm not sure. Maybe they won't do it because the book already exists and therefore people know how it's going to end. But
yeah,
I think it's a great story and would be well adapted to film because some of the complexity that you kind of get lost in when you're reading could just kind of be smoothed over and it could look really beautiful and it would have cool, compelling characters that are new and different and it would be unconstrained by the confines of the Skywalker stuff. It'd have a new villain with the Nihil. And I
think that the Acolyte should have been that.
Yeah. It could have been a Game of Thrones-esque situation where the books existed and they did like 5 seasons of great television off of these existing books.
Right. I just don't think that Lucasfilm / Disney wants to like adapt books, comics, and stuff. So it's like, I'm like, the High Republic stuff would be so cool to have as shows or movies. Like, so like that would probably be my answer to a High Republic thing of this like seeing the Jedi at their best. But it's like they can't be fighting the Sith because they don't believe the Sith is around. And it's like the Nihil, I think, is an amazing villain to have against the Jedi. Like, it's such a perfect villain that like I couldn't come up with that on my own. So it's like they can't do the Nihil conflict because it's like you'd have to tell too big of a story that's already told in the like you couldn't do a spin-off story of the Nihil because then it's like reading one of the junior novels or something like that. Yeah, there's some cool stuff, but it's like there's a bigger story that's more intriguing than just those side stories.
Well, and I think also to that point, Jeremiah, is they don't want to do that because if they do that, then people are gonna know the outcome.
That too.
Yeah.
And they like Star Wars is known for not letting the outcome come out until they actually put it on the screen. So they're not gonna have a full story in a book. Because like my dream movie would be Lost Stars. That would be the best movie of all time, in my opinion. But they're not going to do that because someone can just read the whole thing and there's not going to be a surprise or anything. But I think that would be the best. Because Kathleen Kennedy was saying that she didn't want to leave Lucasfilm until she had something that she created something amazing and she wanted to retire after she created something amazing. Well, you know who I'm
so
talking
then
about.
what's the first thing that you made not amazing? Like, why wouldn't you try to make amazing stuff from the start? Like,
that's literally what's his name, you know who I'm talking about, did a whole video about it. It's like, so you're saying up to this point you haven't done anything amazing. That's what she's pretty much saying.
That's
which is depressing to think about. But
to be fair, there are some pretty amazing Disney era stuff. So
yeah,
well, I agree too. Rogue One for sure. But she should have just ended at Rogue One and retired that day when that movie came out, and it was such a hit.
But she's like in her 70s. Did you know that? Like
she's 72.
Like she needs to
She needs to go home,
enjoy retirement. Like
she has a lot of money too. Like it's not like she's like itching for funds.
I just wonder like who like the next options are to like run Lucasfilm.
Jon Favreau.
Would he? Do you think
Dave Filoni? One of those two.
Dave Filoni wouldn't want to be president, but I think they're too involved, and they want to be involved in writing and directing and making stories.
I think Jon Favreau is kind of leaning more back on them after the Grogu movie. I feel like he's kind of leaning more on the Marvel train and what they're doing and helping with that a little bit now too.
Maybe.
It's kind of hard with
he'll
him.
go back for like the new Avengers movies.
Help out with that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, for me, besides Lost Stars, I think a trilogy about Maul would be amazing. Ooh. Like we were rumored to get a show about Maul or whatever, like that time frame, like a movie about it would be really sweet.
I love that. That would be awesome.
I just want to know what happened between, because I think it's also in the comics too a little bit, but like Maul's story between when Palpatine wipes him on the floor in Clone Wars and then all the way up to Rebels season 2, like what happened all in there? And like he knows of Vader and that he can't defeat him, so it's like he had to face off against Vader at one point, maybe. Like that'd be a cool story, but we're probably never gonna get it, unfortunately.
I agree. I also want them to fill in the gaps, like what happened with Ahsoka between Rebels and her show.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Be a movie or a comic.
Because she knows she's fighting people, so
yeah.
Her and Rex movie.
Oh.
Them working together, because we were talking about like maybe the new animated series is going to be about Rex and like after like the Bad Batch, like what Rex is doing, and also that would be amazing. But also 3 movies of that live action would be.
They're not gonna make a trilogy.
Let's go 3 movies of Ahsoka and Rex. And they can throw the Lost Stars story in there. Like, I'm okay with that.
Oh, please. No. Oh, that would be the best movie of all time.
Let's do it. All right, Lucas.
I'd probably cry if that ever got announced. Tears of joy.
Yeah, but then here's the thing.
Reaction.
If they ruin that, though, adaptation, you'd rage quit Star Wars probably. And then it's just me on the podcast.
And Grace would come every once in a while. Help you out.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we've talked about that.
Grace is falling asleep, so let's keep going. Come on.
Yep. She almost fell asleep last time, so we got to keep going now. So, number 3 from E. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Empire Radio. It's your boy E. Hey, I heard you guys talk about the breakdown of Skeleton Crew. You guys talked about Jude Law and him being a potential Jedi. It would have been awesome to have Ahmad Best, I think is his name, who played Jar Jar Binks. It would have been cool to have him be this guy. But anyways, you mentioned that Jude Law is a Jedi. My thing is, there's so many Jedis now that they've gone through and done a bunch of stuff between episode 3 and 4 and the Inquisitors and they're hunting Jedi and so forth. My thing is, and some Jedis have survived, but like, what do you do with what Yoda says? Like, hey, Luke, when I die, you'll be the only Jedi remaining. Like, to me, it's crazy because there are so many Jedi out there who are trained and then stopped training because they had to or because they chose not to anymore. Like, what do you do with that? If this guy's a Jedi, where has he been? And maybe he's been, being a bum somewhere with the pirates. But like, to me, it seems to be, again, it's not retconning. And I'm sure there's other Jedis out there. So like, obviously, like Ezra and Ken and Jaren. I know they're gone. The whole Thrawn took Ezra away, but it's kind of weird that there's so many Jedis during that time. What are your thoughts about that?
All right. Thank you, E. And that is an important question that people have debate. I know that Andrew, like every time they introduce a new Jedi that survived Order 66, he's like, it lessens the effect of the thing. Now, I don't agree with that. I think that, at the end of the day, the Jedi had lost all their influence in the galaxy, and that's like the main purpose. Like, first to kill everyone, as many as they could, but also just to completely rid them of any influence. So it's like,
well, it gets to the point where people don't even know what Jedis were,
right,
in a very short amount of time,
right. And so it's like, essentially, there are no more Jedi, but it's like,
also like they are force sensitive people still, but then they're not. Yoda at that point too was also not very in touch with the Force itself. Like, he wasn't like sitting there like thinking of all those people, because this Palpatine's control of the dark side was so powerful. It was so like, he was so clouded that he couldn't. They didn't know what else, if anyone else was out there, and most of their focus were on those 2 children.
That's a good point. Like, Ahsoka is a Force user, but she's not a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there could be other Kanan. Like, is he identifying as a Jedi? I guess he kind of is, but he wasn't until Ezra comes along.
But was he ever a Jedi? Like, is he a Jedi now? Like,
so, well, he does get knighted in season 2, like by the Grand Inquisitor. So it's like, he is a knighted Jedi, but it's like I've always said, when you get to episode 4, you have 2 Sith, Palpatine and Vader, and you have 2 Jedi living, Yoda and Obi-Wan. Like, there's balance in the Force there, like 2 on each side. So it's like Ahsoka, at that point, she doesn't consider herself a Jedi anymore. But like, if you're not practicing the Jedi way, like, are you really a Jedi anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of up for debate on like how you want to interpret what a Jedi is, but like, I don't know.
Do you guys think there's any chance that this is all a fake out and Jude Law's character isn't a Jedi and it's like one of the kids that's moving that key? Because to me, that would be the best case scenario.
That'd be cool, but they already said that he was a former Jedi in the panel.
It's like, well,
right.
the thing is though, like that scene though, you don't actually see Jude Law like putting his hand out.
That's what I'm saying.
And so like someone
True,
else could also be doing it. So they could be a second Jedi.
It could be one of the kids too. I hope it's the elephant.
Oh, that's so cute, right?
Oh,
Does anyone know what that species is called?
I forget. If you gave me like multiple choice, I'd be able to pick it out.
Okay.
But I can't remember. But like, I don't know. We do see 2 X-Wings in that trailer. Maybe Luke is flying one of those X-Wings. And it could just be Luke showing up.
We know who it is, Jeremiah. Come on.
I'm just saying. Trailers are deceiving.
Yeah, so, but it's definitely Dave Filoni and the Asian guy.
The Asian guy?
Yeah, that are in those X-Wings.
The guy from Kim's Convenience.
Oh, sorry. I was like, yeah. Carson Teva and
Wolf.
Tapper. What is it first? Tapper Wolf or
whatever.
Tracker Wolf. Could be them. We did talk about that, but I don't know. There's a lot that's going to happen. Maybe we'll get a little bit more insight into like a trailer in a couple months that gives more story.
Like I said, I think it would have been a way better story if it was actually the Jedi who saved Grogu. If he was the one,
Kelleran Beck.
Yes, if he would have been that Jedi that the kids bumped into, because then it would have tied all of it together.
Or if they just bumped into Grogu himself.
Oh gosh.
No, I don't want
What? Are you guys anti-Grogu?
Wait a second.
We've talked about this
Jeremiah
before.
I'm not, but
I'm just saying
there can only be 2 cute alien kids in a show at a time, okay?
True,
I mean, you got the elephant one, we don't need another one, okay?
I'm just saying Grogu was a gimmick to sell merch.
And he still is. That's why they brought him back.
And it worked.
You turn Grace unfogs her Discord thing. It's just all Grogu statues.
But it's like
cute little Grogu right
season 3 of Mando, Grogu grew a little bit on me just because he was more competent. He wasn't a ball and chain like he was in the first 2 seasons. But like,
okay, he saved Mando.
I get it, but
multiple times.
I'm just saying.
Enough with the slander.
I'm just saying the gimmick is done. Let's have some better characters.
Jeremiah was so happy when he went with Luke in episode 2. He thought it was the
I was like, oh yeah,
ever.
we're maybe gonna see him, in like a few seasons from now, or like in the rumored at the time it was like a rumored movie of like stuff like, oh yeah, we're not gonna see him for a while. Literally, like a year later, in
Chad is right too. Mando was kind of useless without Grogu in season 1.
Oh, yeah, but everything he had to do in season 1 was because of Grogu, and Grogu was a ball and chain that held him back. So if it wasn't
super aggressive. I get the whole concept that he's floating in a ball, but come on, dude.
I'm just saying.
Okay, let's listen to the next voicemail.
Yes. Thank you, E, for your 3 voicemails. It's always good to hear from you. Next up, from a first-time sender, Dice Man.
Hey guys, Dice Man here. Long-time listener, first-time sender. I just got done listening to your top 5 deaths episode, and I gotta say, Kanan's death is one of my all-time most favorite. It's just so impactful. That episode is amazing. If you listen to the voices while he's meditating before that, you can actually hear voices all the way up to Return of the Jedi. So he knew everything that was going to happen to the rebellion because of his sacrifice, which just makes it so much better. Not to mention, I recently introduced my youngest sibling to Star Wars Rebels, and when she got to that episode, she cried, and it was just beautiful. Anyway, keep up the great work. Love listening to you guys. May the Force be with you.
All right, thank you, Diceman, for your first ever voicemail. Hope to hear from you again, and maybe you could have a little duo voicemail with your youngest sibling that you'd introduce Rebels to. That would be really cool to hear. So, sister, you said, hear from your sister, her thoughts on Rebels or something. That'd be really cool. But yes, Kanan Jarrus's death, super, super, super sad, emotional, impactful, and yes, if he did not complete that mission of destroying the fuel depot, the TIE Defender program would have gotten all the funding, and the Death Star would have been canceled, and the TIE Defender program would have destroyed the rebellion. So, yes, it was of galactic importance of what they accomplished. And I wish more people would watch Rebels because of how important the story is to the bigger story. But people are like, it's a cartoon. I don't care about that. Get over it. Watch it.
Yeah.
All
it's
right.
really good.
You will understand Rebels season 5. Ahsoka season 1. You would understand that if you watched it.
And a good chunk of Clone Wars, just for good measure.
Yep. Just watch everything. Like even if you're a Star Wars fan, there's stuff you got to watch that's going to be great. There's stuff that you're going to watch that's terrible, but it's all Star Wars, so you just get it all done.
Do it.
Do it.
All right. Well, next up, from everyone's favorite Northern Irishman.
Oh, I was hoping he sent one.
Jakob is back. So
Jakob.
let's take a listen to his voicemail.
Hello, it's me, Jakob. And I haven't sent one in a while because of how fast they were sent out. And I'm not saying this, I'm not angry or anything, but where's the K in my name in the chapters thing? And I have a question. And my question is, when you were younger, did you collect Pokemon cards? And which is your rarest? Because I have a couple rare ones. I know my collection's worth £421. I'm not sure what that is in dollars, but it's around about like $500 maybe. $500, but thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Jakob, for your voicemail. And he made a reference to the K in his name. So back in the day, when he started commenting on Spotify, I would say, oh, Jacob with a K is commenting or whatever. And then he corrected us. It's actually Jakob with the J's with a Y sound. So, like, if you want us to start calling you Jakob with a K, like, because like he kind of like where's the thing? Like, well, we could if you want, but yes, but we like to respect people's actual pronunciations of their name the best we can if we know it. So, let us know if you want us to call you Jakob with a K. Jakob with a K. But his question was, did we collect Pokemon cards and what is our rarest? So, Grace, just say no. We'll get you out of the way. Didn't you say you? Did you collect Pokemon cards?
Absolutely not. No. Go right ahead, guys.
Yep. So I should have pulled my cards out because
You still have them?
I still have all mine from when I was a kid. Yeah.
Oh.
So I have. I'm trying to remember like what holographic ones I have. I know I have like an Articuno, a Machamp. That's one with the forearms, right? Machop.
Yes, Machop.
I have
Machamp has
Machamp. That's what it is. I have that with holographic. I think I have a Zapdos holographic.
Do you have a Charizard?
No, I've always wanted a. That's the dream, but I'm an adult. I could go out and buy one right now if I wanted to, but it's not going to bring me happiness, so I don't care. But did I ever tell you about the first holographic Pokemon card I got in my story, Drew?
Mm-mm.
I mean, probably maybe when we were kids, like you knew about it, but like, So the first time I got one, I opened up the thing, like finally got a holographic. It was a holographic Magnetron, and I was like, "This is my first one ever." Blah blah blah. So I was showing my cards to like some kids in the neighborhood, and like they're showing like I saw one of his. It was Machamp, Machop, the one with the boxing one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he had a hologram. I'm like, oh man, I'd trade you for that one. But like, I was just kind of just say it out of emotion. It was like we're all looking, and so like I'm talking with all these kids about the showing cards, he like takes his, slips it in my hand, and pulls the one I said I'd trade him for, and runs away. And like I don't know, I was like 8 or something, so I'm crying, whatever. I run inside, my sister's there, and like he did this, da 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 da, and my sister tried to go out and like find him, and he's like, nah, no trade backs, blah blah blah, world star. Like he didn't like, he's like YOLO, like back before YOLO was a thing, like so that was so like I never got that. I and the one that he gave me, like traded, like it had like a scratch in it too. So it's like it wasn't even like
you saw that one too.
I have that one, yeah. But, so
I had the one card. I have a Charizard, but I don't think it's Gen 1, so it's not really worth anything. And then the other one, it's the lion one that was in the movie.
Oh, I don't know.
I keep forgetting. I'm pulling it up on my Pokemon Go because my Pokemon Go, that's where it's at these days.
But yeah, so I don't know which one of mine is the most expensive. It's like I've heard like that my like a Zapdos one, like I have a
Zapdos pretty worth something.
I've heard that they can be worth like a couple $100 or something like that, but I don't know if the specific one that I have is worth that.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure I had like a Dragonite too, holographic.
I feel like I might have one of those ones too. I think I have like 10.
I need to find my book. I know it's somewhere in my parents' house. It better be. Yeah, I have some like the movie ones, like the Pokemon movie cards too. Stuff like that. But
Grace, you need to go out and just buy one Pokemon card just to say you have it.
Just to put in your book when you're reading, like Jeremiah does.
Just so I can be prepared for Jakob's questions.
Or just play Pokemon Go because it's superior.
I feel Drew, what Pokemon card do you think Grace should have? Like, what would fit her?
Yeah,
I'm thinking of like an Eevee.
Eevee?
Feel that?
Yeah,
I think
Eevee.
I was thinking more of like Togepi.
Tell me about these.
So Eevee is like a little, like tiny little.
It's so cute.
All right.
Okay, now look at Togepi.
How do you spell
Togepi? Oh, I like it too, but Eevee is cuter.
Well, Eevee can change into multiple different element dogs.
Yeah, so look up Eevee's evolutionary
tree.
Eevee evolution.
So it turns into it's like pink and blue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so cute. What does the Togepi do?
She just turns into another egg-looking thing.
Which one is like? What are their skills?
Togepi, I think, is a fairy type. Oh, we're not doing this.
So Grace,
hold on, we're not doing this. I just remember what we're doing. We're not doing this.
Grace, your goal is that at some point go into like a comic book store, like a comic store, collectible store, or just off eBay, get an Eevee Pokemon card just to have, and then that can be your. You're in.
I'll work on that. Yeah, I kind of want like a stuffed animal Eevee. It's so cute.
They have it at Build-A-Bear.
No way. Oh, I love Build-A-Bear.
Me too.
Do you have a Build-A-Bear by you, Grace?
Probably. I haven't like tried to go to a Build-A-Bear in many years, but I assume it exists.
Well, come to Minnesota at Mall of America.
They have Build-A-Bear.
They got a Build-A-Bear.
I have a Build-A-Bear Ewok.
Stop. Do they have Star Wars ones?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jawas. I have a Jawa too, actually.
Wow.
It's actually really cute because it has no face, just eyes. It's awesome.
Wow.
All right. Well,
Anyway,
thank you, Jakob.
Yeah, thank you.
Pretty cool that you got a $500 worth Pokemon card.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Keep. Don't get rid of it now. It'll be worth even more, and when you're an adult.
Good
So
when you're our age,
yeah. And
that's why Jeremiah still has his.
Yeah, I have no idea how much they're worth. I have to go look them up, but I feel like I looked them up once, and they're not as much as I'd like them to be. But you just gotta find the right buyer, I guess. But all right,
there was that craze during COVID when Pokemon cards were like super valuable, and
do you have any?
Charizard was like going for a couple mil. It's crazy.
Drew, do you still have Beanie Babies?
I did, and then my mom threw them out like recently.
Recently? She didn't even want to check them?
And then she apparently threw out, and then I looked at them like, hey, Mom, we need this one, which is the bat. And I know we had the bat. The bat is worth like a lot of money, like $5,000.
What?
And she like recently threw it out, like within like the last like 7 months. They did we had a tub. She's like, they were wet. I was like, no, they probably weren't. You're being crazy, lady. Like, it was rough for a little bit in the household, to say the least. But whatever. I don't want to talk about that.
We opened up such a bad nerve on now. All right, moving on. Our final one from everyone's.
More voicemails.
Last one too.
No, we have one last one from everyone's favorite pirate.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Continuing the story, Grace, you didn't miss he didn't call in last week, so you haven't missed anything for picking up from.
Great. So we left off on human trafficking.
He rescued people from human trafficking and ended a mining thing. So let's take a listen.
Hey, Empire Radio, it's Garrett. Sorry I missed last week. We've been on the run. Apparently, the First Order has put a price on our heads, calling us the two-timing pirates, and they're calling me Captain Coup d'etat. I don't know why they would ever call me that. We're heading to the planet Sorgan to lay low for a bit. I hope everyone likes krill. Completely unrelated question, by the way, but do you have any top tips for evading the First Order?
All right, that's his question. He was really quick. So he's kind of on the run, in hiding from the First Order. They got a bounty on his head. He's Captain Coup d'etat. And his question is ways he can steer clear of the First Order. And I think I gotta say it. You've committed 2 coup d'etats now. You gotta get that third one. I think you gotta infiltrate the First Order like you did the pirates. Work your way up and coup d'etat Kylo / and become the supreme leader of the First Order. Like I think it's gonna take more than one voicemail to get it done.
You do it again.
Well, he's done it twice. He did.
That's what I'm saying.
So you gotta get that triple star right there to get it done. I'm not gonna give you any advice to steer clear of him. I think you gotta go all in, unless you guys think he should steer clear. But
the First Order is kind of whack, so it's not that scary. Just go in.
Like if General Hux can work his way up, Garrett can definitely.
Anyone can do it.
Grace, any thoughts?
No. I mean, I can't compete with that advice. That's great, and I'm looking forward to hearing about it. Yeah, I said I wanted to hear some good fanfic, so I'm.
Oh, that is true.
That's true. We have one literally going on constantly.
Progresses.
Fun. All right. Well, that is all the voicemails tonight and the conclusion of tonight's Comics with Grace. So all we gotta do is go with some. That was very loud. That was very loud on my end. I'll turn that down in post. But yeah, so let's go over some social media stuff and we can get out of here. So if you're new to Empire Radio, or if you're just a longtime fan and you haven't fully connected with us, go in the description below, click the links.co/Empire Radio, links spelled with 2 I's. Click on that landing page for everything Empire Radio. So you want to join some live streams when we're recording and be fact checking us and talking to us about how people die in outer space, if you're an expert, if you're an astrophysicist, we'd love to hear from you in the chat. So follow us on Twitch for live streams, but you can also follow us on YouTube and comment there and subscribe there and all that jazz. Watch this wonderful PowerPoint presentation that Grace has put up for us, but also connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, join the Discord. It's been a little quiet in the Discord recently, so we need some new life in there to join and you know, put a little more pizzazz in there. We'd love to have you join. There's our fan email. Send us an email if you need anything, talk about anything. And needlesslynerdy.com, which is an entertainment network that we're part of. So go click on that link to go see more nerdy content.
And if you guys love Grace and you want more of her when she's not on, Grace, where do they find you?
My Instagram is gals_of the galaxy. I have historically posted cosplay and other related like Star Wars, Marvel, nerd content on that Instagram. I have not been posting a ton recently, but it does not mean I will never post again. So please come hang out with me on Instagram.
Yep, we'd love to see more of your cosplay. You got some fun ones out there, and
I mean, you have a Luke one on right now, and you didn't even know it. So
yeah,
I know.
Just take a selfie and then post that and say my accidental Luke cosplay. But yes, go follow Grace. I think that's everything. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
All right. Well, you've been listening to another Comics with Grace-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And I'm Grace.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.